All right. Good morning, people. My people. Good morning, everybody. I am checking my Facebook on my phone just to see how this shows up for you guys. Oh, that's cool. So this lets me see when people actually join, if people join at all when I'm live, because that would be cool if you guys actually did that. But let me introduce myself. I'm Colleen Mitchell. I'm a life coach, a writer, a host of a podcast on type 1 diabetes, and I also have a full-time job in the power industry. For my coaching business, I focus on helping lady entrepreneurs create financial independence in their lives by getting to the root of how they spend their time. Because making powerful decisions to honor your calendar is how you get stuff done. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. So what we're talking about today is friendships. There's a saying that we're the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And usually those people are our friends, our family, and our coworkers. Now, despite what many of us would like, friendships come and they go. It's rare to keep a friend for an entire lifetime, but when it happens, it's because of effort on both sides of the relationship. My late grandma, who lived to be 93, had a lifelong best friend who she met in elementary school. And both of them made that friendship a priority. I actually met her, and she was a really cool lady. Her name was Nadine, and she and my grandma got along famously. So if you take stock of the people you spend the most time with, what would you see? Would you see people who build you up and support you, or would you see people who judge your decisions and think they know better? So I want to go over some questions to ask to know yourself better when it comes to friendships. Now, the first question is, do you have anything in common? It seems like a simple question, but this is really the main driver when people become friends. Our first friends are our cousins, if you're lucky enough to have cousins. I have a ton of cousins. We have our family in common, so our cousins are our first friends. Then it's the kids from school, after-school activities, church, and around the neighborhood. My best friend in elementary school ended up down a completely different path than mine. She made decisions that I did not agree with, and our friendship ended. A similar thing happened with a girl from high school, and I actually traded notes with her, like handwritten notes, on a daily basis. I later collected those notes and have them in a binder, and it's kind of cool to flip through and see all of our crushes, all of our notes back and forth. We shared all those things with each other, like gripes about teachers or future plans, but somewhere along the way, our paths diverged, and we just no longer had anything in common. One of the more notable friendships that ended because we no longer had anything in common was because we only had one thing in common to begin with. It was a PE class in community college. That was literally the only thing that held us together, and when the class ended, the differences became just so obvious that any interactions felt really uncomfortable. She loved Twilight and hated Harry Potter. And I ferociously defend anything Harry Potter and absolutely abhor Twilight. On a positive note, my best friends now are a constant in my life because we still share the same values, the same interests, and we look to each other for advice, encouragement, and support. And I want to give a shout out here to Jeannie because she's in this group and she is my best friend. So that's the first thing to notice. Do you still have things in common? The next question is it one-sided? Either side, it doesn't matter. Are you the one who's always making plans with them, or are they the one who always reaches out to you? Do you feel too busy to respond? Everyone's busy with their own lives, even now in coronavirus. I found that if I want to keep friendships alive, it's my responsibility to keep that friendship going. And if I don't take responsibility, then I'd fall into the trap of blaming others for the friendship falling apart. So are you always the one reaching out, trying to set up plans, and it feels like they don't have time for you, or they don't really care about the friendship anymore? Or are they constantly trying to set up plans with you, and you always find an excuse to not follow through, or even respond? Excuse me. Maybe that's a sign that this season of friendship is closing, and it's time to move on. Now, this isn't always the case, since again, people are busy with their own lives. Maybe they're just in a really busy season. So that's the next thing to notice. Is it one-sided? Another question is, does this person build you up or tear you down? I'm often really baffled by people who let their friends tear them down. My gut reaction is, why are you even friends with this person? Now, I just mentioned Harry Potter, and I'm honestly baffled by the epilogue. I'm not kidding. I mean, seriously, all Ron Weasley ever did was make fun of Hermione Granger for wanting to study and learn magic. Why did they get married? Anyway, moving on. I know that one reason for this is fear. Fear that losing that friend will take all their other friends away. Will you ever be able to make more friends at all? Does losing this friend mean that there's something wrong with me? And that's a trap you don't want to fall into. It's really easy for outsiders to tell when someone is building up or tearing down in friendships or in other relationships. Maybe they're dismissing your opinion, telling you you're wrong, making fun of you, putting you down, telling you what to do, telling you you're annoying, making judgments about how you look, what you do, and what you value. You sense a pattern here? All those interactions are full of negativity. But on the flip side, how do builders act? Well, they support, they encourage. Any humor is not at your expense. You feel loved and happy when spending time with them. They ask for your opinion on things, and they give it genuine consideration. All of these interactions are the opposite of the ones that tear you down. Think about the friends in your life. Do any of them tear you down more than they build you up? Another question is, would you choose them again today? I heard this question on a podcast, but I can't remember if it's the Life Coach School podcast or Happier with Gretchen Rubin, but both of them are really good podcasts. Anyway, this question really makes me stop and think about the friends that I have right now. Where are they in their lives? What do they value? What kind of people have they turned into since I first met them? Would I choose them again today if I met them on the street? If you really take the time to think about this, the answer might surprise you, because I know it surprises me. Sometimes we hold on to friendships because we've had them as friends for a really long time, maybe since childhood. It feels like betrayal to let them go, to move on, even when their values, motivations, faith, or politics differ vastly from our own. Now, I'm not saying to let go of everyone who disagrees with you, because that would be dumb, but I am saying that it's worth it to evaluate who you want to be associated with. I mean, 2 of my good friends are my political opposites. So is my manager, but he's actually my favorite person at work. This question asks you to look deeper than the things that you have in common and both sides' willingness to make the time to meet up. It drives at what you really value most and whether that person is on the same page as you. Remember, you don't have to be friends with everyone. What you can and should do is be kind to everyone. And that's another thing to consider. Would you choose your current friends again if you met them today? Now, the last question is it time to let them go? Letting friends go is an inevitable part of human life. Nobody is lifelong friends with everybody that they've ever been friends with. Do you ever look at someone's Facebook friends list, like the number of friends people has, especially if it's in the thousands, and think, yeah, no. Well, you're not alone. There's actually a term for the maximum number of friends that people have, and it's called Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number is a suggested cognitive limit to the number of people with whom one can maintain stable social relationships. Relationships in which an individual knows who each person is and how each person relates to every other person. That number is between 100 and 200 people. Most people agree on about 150. So what does that mean for you and for your friendships? Maybe it's time to phase out the ones where you have nothing in common, or it's one-sided, or they tear you down whenever you see them. And if you met them on the street today, you wouldn't want to be their friend. So have you ever had to let a friendship go for one of those reasons, or a combination? How did you feel afterwards? How did you feel during? Now, if you like this topic, I want to encourage you to sign up for my email list. I send out weekly inspiring emails with topics like this one, and you can sign up by going to inspiredforward.com, and just by entering your name and your email right there on the homepage, you'll be joining the email list after you go through a welcome sequence. So thank you for joining me today. I will be going again live. I'll be going live again next week to talk about dealing with burnout. That should be a fun topic. All right, bye everybody.